Hi, and welcome to Module 11. Today's Friday, May 25th, the day before our long Memorial Day weekend. I figure everybody would like to get to work on closing out the class and getting everything done so they can so you can wrap up your term on your own schedule. So these last couple modules will be open and available for you. This last module is entitled Benefits and Pitfalls of Data-Driven Decision Making, and the focus of the entire term pretty much has been on the benefits of data-driven decision making, and we have acknowledged some pitfalls, but the pitfalls I want to put before you are actually a data-driven decision making consequence or unintended consequence of applying the process. And they arrive at these unintended consequences pop up at 2 points in the data-driven decision-making process. The first point it pops up is in the interpretation of the analysis. So once the data has been collected, analyzed, and there's some outcome, then that outcome needs to be interpreted. That interpretation is almost always going to be different by different stakeholder groups, meaning district level staff, building level staff, and teachers, sometimes even parents. So if there is not a consensus, then the unintended consequence becomes a bottleneck or a stop in the process of moving forward to selecting some actions that would be necessary to address any shortfalls or problems identified in the analysis. So in taking action, again, we find that the depending on the proposed solution or the proposed multiple solutions and identifying which solution would be appropriate, again, with multiple stakeholders and constituencies involved, the unintended consequence of a bottleneck again becomes a reality. So the application of the African proverb that I put before you to address in the discussion for Module 11 becomes salient and relevant. So ultimately then we're faced with when the unintended consequence of data-driven decision making is a bottleneck in the interpretation of a analysis and the steps to be taken, then do we move forward quickly with a unilateral decision without consensus, or do we keep working to gain consensus no matter how long that process may take? That seems like a pretty straightforward discussion, but what I want to add in here and caution is that when we're dealing with data that has to do with the reallocation of resources or restructuring the application of supports, then that data has a shelf life, as does a perishable food, meaning it can't be used after it has gone stale. The data itself has gone stale. So when we have delayed the decision-making process, new data would need to be acquired in order to make the most relevant and appropriate decision. And therefore, we're really up against putting ourselves up against the clock. So that is the context in the background that I want to set up for the Module 11 discussion. And I'd like to ask you, if you have time, to please read the RAND article that I posted in Module 11, which does a great job in highlighting and providing more information on these unintended consequences. So thanks for stopping in, and I will see you in class.